In 2017, Kendrick took the crown with Damn. In 2018, he's doing a victory lap on tour while working on the Black Panther soundtrack. J. Cole was battling with SoundCloud's underground scene and a little bit with Kanye still, while Drake had bigger battles on his plate. But this is just the intro. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let's start at the top. It's January 19th, 2018. Drake drops a 2-song EP called Scary Hours. The first song was called Diplomatic Immunity. And it appears that Drake is sick of people talking about his run ending or saying that he isn't still on top of the game. He raps this: "All that weak shit'll ruin me. F 'em, yeah, cause dude started talking to me like I'm slowing down. Opinions over statistics, of course. Gassed off journalistic, come at me and all you'll get is the ballistic report." He even refers directly to Complex's rap debate show Everyday Struggle, throwing shots at, yes, DJ Academics, his current biggest fan, Joe Budden and Nadeska, who had been constantly discussing on the show if Drake's run at the top was done. Shit is complex like short dudes around tall ladies. I gotta watch who I'm talking to like it's all ages. I've seen Budden careers turn to sit around and talk about other careers judging their peers, knowledge from dudes who did not contribute to none of this here. There were also some subliminals that I personally think could be attributed towards Kendrick, where he says, "Yeah, who am I, the do or die, the one with the fewest lies and the truest ties? They try to compare us, but like a job straight out of high school, there's no you and I do everything you know, now you got student pride." He references once again taking Kendrick on tour, I think, here, and showing him certain aspects of the music industry and the success he had early on while Kendrick was still building. But that's my personal interpretation of those bars. You guys can let me know in the comments what you think. He also talks about his love life on this song, referencing both Rihanna and J-Lo. Catering is from Giorgio Baldi, Robin's favorite. Shit is nice, but I prefer Madeo. This seems like a slight shot at Rihanna after their fling was on again, off again. Robin is Rihanna's real name. Calamari rings and tomato, I got the sauce, and now shorties keep claiming Prego. Waking up at 6 p.m. like where does the day go? Forecasting tornadoes, brainstorming retaliation at dinner tables. 2010 was when I lost my halo. 2017 I lost to J-Lo. A Rotterdam trip had me on front page though. I had to lay low, hot topic like your everyday clothes. A-Rod was J-Lo's man at the time, so a Rotterdam trip, and he also was on the front page during a trip to Rotterdam on tour. So this was a very clever bar about the situation. But the Prego bar was actually the first time that we hear Drake publicly reference what was already bubbling in certain niche pockets online, which was that a woman was claiming to be pregnant with Drake's baby. Although it was still in the fringes of the internet at that point, I do remember seeing a couple of those meme pages post about it long before Pusha T announced the child to the world. But let's get back to that in a little bit. Drake had referenced similar bars before though on things like 30 for 30 Freestyle, so a lot of people just thought it was a throwaway bar. Paternity testing for women I never slept with. I'm legally obligated if they request it. He also references how he's viewed compared to some of his peers on Diplomatic Immunity, where he says, Billboard Awards, I claim 13 out in Vegas like Serenos, Black Excellence, but I guess when it comes to me, it's not the same though. All goody that just pushed me to do the things we all couldn't. Showcasing that even though he's at the top of the game numbers-wise and awards-wise, he doesn't necessarily get the same love or respect as some of his peers do for their accomplishments. He also references SZA by her real name, Solana, basically saying that even the current star of TDE, he is known for a very long time, who is, of course, affiliated with Kendrick, and Kendrick was on Control at the time. So I think, again, it's all kind of tied together where he's like, yeah, I've been on SZA for a long time. They had actually dated back in 2009, although when he name-dropped SZA in a 21 Savage song, things got a little muddled because SZA did have to clarify that it was actually 09 and not 08 like Drake referenced in the song, because she did say she was 18 at the time, and if they had dated in 2008, then she would have been 17. But anyways, that mess aside, he rapped, I just pulled up on Solana's show, The Girl's a Natural. I knew her way back when Hollywood was international. Referencing, of course, coming from Canada, Hollywood does feel like a long way away. I can attest to that for sure. Speaking of SZA though, Kendrick and SZA dropped one of the biggest songs this year called All the Stars. To this day, it's one of Kendrick's most successful songs, surpassing more than 10 million records sold. And on that song, there are some lines that a lot of people think, including myself, are actually Drake's subliminals. F you and all your expectations. I don't even want your congratulations. I recognize your false confidence and calculated promises all in your conversation. I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy because I didn't invite you. Oh, you important? You the moral of the story? You endorsing? Mother, I don't even like you. The line about congratulations is probably the one that's related to Drake the most, because when Elliot Wilson, shout out to Elliot, posted a picture of Kendrick's album sales from Damn selling 603,000 copies and becoming the highest selling project of the year and surpassing Drake's own More Life sales, Drake wrote this in the comments: amazing to see our music moving, ! But also those last lines saying, oh, you the moral of the story, relates also back to Drake, because Drake did say, in quote, our music, associating himself with Kendrick's success rather than just bigging him up and saying congratulations. But it's clear that Kendrick said he didn't like Drake even way back then. I don't even like you. But All of the Stars wasn't just a single on its own. It came as part of the Black Panther soundtrack. Ryan Coogler initially asked Kendrick just to do a song for the soundtrack, but after seeing the movie and feeling completely inspired, Kendrick was so inspired alongside his TDE crew that they created a full-length project that accompanied the movie.
Yeah. Like, we didn't know how good I could have, hit Kendrick up, and he already boom and top say, all right, we doing a whole album. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Bro, I hit Dot for a song. I'm like, yeah, maybe he'll do a song. He just dropped Damn. I know he tired, he on tour. Man, hey, we got a whole album for you. Come pull up, come listen.
That album also included the song King's Dead with J-Rock and Future, which has the classic La-di-da-di-da. The song would win a Grammy the following year for Best Rap Performance, and speaking of the Grammys, Kendrick performed alongside U2 and Dave Chappelle with a stunning rendition of the song XXX. He also took home 7 awards that night. Kendrick also had a standout feature on Lil Wayne's The Carter 5, where he rapped in character as part of a masterful storytelling song called Mona Lisa, which in my opinion is one of Wayne's best songs and one of Kendrick's best verses ever. He also featured on J. Cole's Artist Causes song, Hustler Story. It's crazy that he featured on Drake's Mentor song and on Cole's Mentees song. I don't know if that's all coincidence, but I think it's funny to look at. He also did have The Weeknd on the Black Panther soundtrack, who at that time was still a rival of Drake's. Oh, and this is aside from that, but he was on Anderson .Paak's album and Nipsey Hussle's album Victory Lap. Rest in peace to Nip. Welcome back to Passing of the Crown, a 16-part YouTube series documenting the big three in more depth than anywhere else you will find on YouTube. My name is Jeremy Hecht. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been following this series, welcome back. I'm excited to be back. I know it took a long time in between episodes, but we are here, okay? We are back, and it's going to be worth the wait. So all I ask, if you're watching, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes. Give me a like on the video and leave a comment. It really helps. And be sure to share this with a fan of any one of these 3 artists or just a hip-hop fan in general. All right, let's get back to the story. Alongside Diplomatic Immunity, Drake dropped a song called God's Plan. The song first surfaced online as a snippet and started to go viral. Drake had first recorded the song to Cardo's beat without thinking much of it and put a verse and hook on it before sending the unfinished version to Trippie Redd to get on it as a feature. Ironically, it was Trippie Redd's DJ who first played the song, but a fan who recorded it on their phone put it online and it started gaining traction. Funny enough, Trippie didn't get his verse sent in time. It's one of those lessons where don't speak too early before you solidify things, because it can get muddled in the middle depending on who you show or you tell your news or your business to. But Drake said this: "We had to rush and turn around because I was worried that another artist was going to get the version and just start laying random verses on it. We were rushing to try to turn it around in the next 2 days. I was just like, yo, I have to do a second verse. It has to be hard." And when it was released, it was an immediate hit. It broke first day streaming records on both Apple Music and Spotify and debuted at #1, where it remained for 11 weeks. I remember hearing this and knowing it was a smash right away. And ironically, that second verse was actually the most memorable. It had the lines, "She said, do you love me? I tell her only partly. I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry." And if you were around during that time, you remember the meme that existed where it was basically saying that Drake's kid, Adonis, had the middle name My Bed, and that this was really all a hint Drake was giving the world before they knew he had a kid when he said, "I only love my bed and my mama." He was really talking about Adonis my bed. I think it's probably just a dumb rumor that somebody made up, but it was hilarious seeing Twitter react to that at the time. Either way, the song became a smash, and it was so massive that they quickly decided it needed a video. And it was a memorable video. The treatment was that Drake was allegedly using the $1 million budget that his label gave him for the video, and he was giving it away to people in Miami, including families and those in need. This is where Drake's beef with XXXTentacion re-entered the conversation. Earlier this year, X had started what he called the Helping Hand Challenge, where he was donating gifts to foster homes and giving away money in his hometown of Miami while encouraging others to do the same. So when Drake decided that he was going to give away money to people in Miami during the God's Plan video while visiting a school and giving to those in need, X, along with many of his fans, thought that Drake was purposefully either biting his idea or just making a slick little bro move in public, saying, yeah, you're doing your little thing, but I'm gonna use the same idea in a public platform for the biggest song in the world right now, and there's nothing you can do about it. But X said, I'm actually really happy about what he did for the city. I'm just glad that some sort of positivity was being publicized. The back and forth didn't end there, though. In a less subliminal way, X posted, in quote, if anyone tries to kill me, it was Drake. Then he deleted the post, and he did say his account was hacked. While Drake never replied directly to this, or X at all besides that interview in 2017, many fan theories have surfaced and circulated around the specific Drake lyrics that they think might have been tied to X, but I feel like that's for a whole different video, and you can find them online. X tragically passed away on June 18th of that year after being fatally shot multiple times. Rest in peace. Back to the story of the Big Three. On April 6th, Drake released Nice for What, which was received with an overwhelmingly positive response. I remember the time, people loved that song. It felt like Drake was back on top of the game, effortlessly creating hits and gearing up for his biggest project yet. The song debuted with a music video that included an insane cast, including Olivia Wilde, Misty Copeland, Issa Rae, Rashida Jones, Tracee Ellis Ross, Tiffany Haddish, Zoe Saldana, Emma Roberts, Sid, Michelle Rodriguez, and more. It was an anthem for the women that became one of his biggest songs of all time and is now certified diamond. On April 16th, 2018, the Pulitzer Prize Board awarded Kendrick Lamar the Pulitzer Prize for Music for his 2017 album Damn. This was the first time the award had ever gone to a musical work outside of classical music or jazz. The Pulitzer Committee called Damn, in quote, a virtuosic song collection unified by its vernacular authenticity and rhythmic dynamism that offers affecting vignettes capturing the complexity of modern African American life. In so many words, they thought it was a masterpiece. In a shocking turn of events, of course, it caused some drama within the classical music fandom community, with a lot of them hating on the decision, saying this isn't real music. This is, you know the talking points that they probably use. But Administrator Dana Kennedy said the decision was unanimous. Kendrick's only public comment was, "It's an honor. I've been writing my whole life, so to get this type of recognition, it's beautiful." Coincidentally or not, the exact same day that Kendrick was awarded the Pulitzer Prize, J. Cole began the rollout for his next album, KOD. He wiped his Instagram profile clean and changed his picture to just a purple background. Then he announced a surprise free listening session for fans at the Gramercy Theater in New York City. Similar to the way he rolled out Forest Hills Drive, the rollout for this album was short and direct. The album KOD dropped on April 20th and debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200 charts, selling 397,000 copies its first week with no single, no promotion, and of course, no features once again. He even raps on the title track, "How about you just go and get a few features? How about the F that I don't? People ain't worthy to be on my Well, there actually were a couple of features on the album. One, to be exact. A mysterious artist named Kill Edward showed up on 2 songs. Fans did some digging though and found a song released before the album called Tidal Wave, in brackets, just a little reference. And people realized that the artist with the pitched down voice sounded slightly similar to another artist they knew named J. Cole. They found a couple of his songs online and speculated that it may have actually been Cole himself. Of course, people were pitching up the vocals and it sounded like Cole. Cole himself did confirm that he created the artist as his alter ego for this reason.
And I started doing these songs in this Kill Edward style. I didn't even have a name. I just had the the songs. I needed a fire name. I needed a fire name. Right. First, it checks that box. It's a fire name, Kill Edward. And then secondly, it just represents like, not kill him physically. Actually, I don't have no problem with the dude. Like, I would speak to him today. I'm actually, thinking about like, man, I need to go find this dude, like, and have a conversation with him. But
because I wonder if this has reached him.
He said the name was directly inspired by his stepfather, who Cole had a complicated relationship with, and he was actually planning on doing a full project as Kill Edward, but it never fully materialized. Even though it was a character, it came from personal experience.
I don't know. Well, maybe now.
KOD broke the Apple Music single-day streaming record that Drake's views had held before him, and he became the first artist to debut 3 songs simultaneously in the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100 with ATM, KOD, and Kevin's Heart. Kevin Hart actually made a surprise guest appearance in Kevin Hart's music video for the song, which talks about him cheating on his wife, which was very public at the time. The album deals with addiction on a lot of different levels, from lust to money to drugs, and he even tells stories involving his own mother's addiction, which he's spoken about on many occasions in his music. But it felt like more of a warning to the younger generation not to get caught up in their vices or the glamour of fame or materialism of America, and to focus on what's real and the love in your life. This was similar messaging to Forest Hills Drive, but it was told from a completely different perspective, and this was less an album about J. Cole and his journey and more about the message to society that he had. The last song on the project was called 1985, in brackets, the intro to the Fall Off, which would take us 11 years to actually get the outro to the Fall Off, but I personally think it was worth the wait. The song sees J. Cole directly talking to Lil Pump and basically walking him through what his career is actually going to look like over the next decade or so. And having been able to witness it live, he wasn't so far off. But before we get into that song, we have to back up and go through what was actually going on between J. Cole and the SoundCloud era of rappers like Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, and why J. Cole was even addressing Lil Pump in the first place. After Cole's last couple of projects, while one side of the internet was resharing a meme about J. Cole going platinum with no features, the other side of the internet was sharing a meme that began to surface online that said J. Cole's music is boring. At this time, hip-hop was potentially at its most divided point in years, maybe since 50 and Kanye had their standoff. There's really 2 sections of online fans of hip-hop, but this time it was between the mainstream lyricists and the SoundCloud clout rap that didn't value lyricism as much as it did style, flow, and the ability to turn up live at a show. 2 of the main artists that were trolling J. Cole online and at their shows were Lil Pump and Smoke Perp. And speaking of live shows, they even started an F. J. Cole chant at their shows multiple times. Cole was genuinely confused as to why these kids were hating on him. So he pulled up in person to the place that he was hearing all the hate stemmed from, a store on Melrose in Los Angeles called No Jumper. Adam22 was a host of the No Jumper podcast, which was a platform at the time for upcoming SoundCloud rappers to tell their story. And he helped launch a bunch of careers from Pump to Smoke Perp to Ski Mask to Slump God, XXXTentacion, and more. Cole said he just wanted to see if there was any hate in real life, so he pulled up and wanted to have a conversation with Adam. The convo ended up being more about J. Cole questioning Adam's atheism and why he doesn't believe in God, or just trying to get an understanding of him, than it was really Adam asking J. Cole questions or an interview. It did seem like Adam was a little bit spooked that Cole actually pulled up because he knew a lot of the hate was stemming from that platform and the artist that he associated himself with. But it was a really cool moment, I think, for J. Cole to try to bridge that gap in some way.
So like last year, and the kid got punched on stage. Kid X got punched on stage, and it was like clearly big enough to like make it into my realm. We was on tour or something, niggas like, yo, you just see this kid get knocked the fuck out? We watching the video like, oh shit. Getting the backstory, boom, boom. I don't know who none of these kids are at the time. Then I'm like, but damn, like what does bro do? Like, so that leads me to like hear some of his shit. I'm like, damn, this nigga's actually talented, boom, boom. And leads me to an interview. And then that's how I got on like, your shit, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh damn, it's something happening over here.
But on KOD, Cole penned a letter not just to Pump, but to all of the new generation of SoundCloud rappers, and it reads almost like a warning of how they will end up giving up their career trajectory in a positive form for something much less glamorous if they don't watch how they move. He rapped, "All these dudes popping now is young. Everybody say the music that they make is dumb. I remember I was 18, money, pussy, parties, I was on the same thing. You gotta give a boy a chance to grow some. I heard one of them diss me, I'm surprised. I ain't tripping, listen good to my reply. Come here, little man, let me talk with you. See if I can paint you for the large picture. The bigger picture? Congrats, cause you made it out your mama house. I hope you make enough to buy your mama house, cause that's the way we eat here in this rap game. I'm fucking with your funky little rap name. I hear your music and I know that rap's changed. A bunch of folks would say that that's a bad thing. I must say by your songs, I'm unimpressed, hey, but I love to see a black man get paid. And plus, you having fun and I respect that. And have you ever thought about your impact? These white kids love that you don't give a because that's exactly what's expected when you're skin black. They want to see you dab. They want to see you pop a pill. They want to see you tatted from your face to your heels. And somewhere deep down, F it, I gotta keep it real. They want to be black and think your song is how it feels. You could have bought a crib with all that bread that you done blew. I know you think this type of revenue is never ending, but I want to take a minute just to tell you that ain't true. One day them kids that's listening gonna grow up and get too old for all that shit that made you blow up. Now your show's looking light because they don't show up, which unfortunately means the money's slow up. And it's crazy if you look forward, there's literal footage of Smoke Perp doing a show and 20 people being in the crowd. And there's also footage of Lil Pump performing at shows, and they did not look the same as his college tours back in 2017. Now you scrambling and hoping to get hot again, but you forgot you only popped because you was riding trends. Now you old news and you going through regrets because you never bought that house, but you got a Benz. I'm hoping for your sake that you ain't dumb as you look. But if it's really true what people saying and you call yourself playing with my name, then I really know you trust. I'll be around forever because my skills is tip top. To any amateur dudes that want to get rocked, just remember what I told you when your shit flopped. In 5 years, you gonna be on Love and Hip Hop. Now, Lil Pump did not ever make his full Love and Hip Hop debut, but a lot of the other stuff did feel like it came true and was pretty prophetic from Cole at this time. But after this, Cole actually sat down for an interview with Pump, which seemed like a peace offering, and it seems like he had high hopes to help bridge the generational gap. But the interview instead kind of felt like Cole was trying to ask a 10-year-old kid how his day at school was, and he wasn't getting much of an answer.
But then, like, I got kicked out of all schools, and I was in, like, 10th
What
grade.
happened in 10th grade?
Like, just fights and shit.
Wow.
This bullshit. I kicked out, like, fuck.
Was it like a white school, black school?
Both.
Mixed?
Like, hella.
Like, damn, that's kind of harsh. Like, you just kick somebody out of school. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's regular, but damn.
Yeah.
That don't seem extreme to you?
Yeah.
Pump definitely did show Cole, though, that the hate wasn't real and that it was just for clout. He literally says, "It wasn't even serious. I F with your shit. It's hard. And you just gave me hella clout. If a rapper like you is talking about me, it's because I'm doing some shit." I'll spare you from watching any more of that interview. The album title stood for 3 different things, though: Kids on Drugs, King Overdose, and Kill Our Demons. It felt like Cole truly wanted to get a message off with this one for both other artists and the listeners. It almost served as a PSA not to fall into the temptations of money, women, and drugs. And it actually offers a solution at the end of the album to help dealing with the stresses of life rather than turning into that deadly trio. On the song Window Pane, J. Cole talks about how meditation has been his solution to a lot of the problems in his life, specifically when he's dealing with anxiety. And I'm not gonna lie, I actually was one of those people that kind of laughed at it when I first heard it. Like, it was this big buildup, and then he says, "You can solve it all. I found the cure. It's meditation. Meditate, meditate, meditate it. Don't medicate." But now, as someone who meditates and prays daily, I'm with Cole. I will say that it does solve a lot of the anxiety I've had in my life and that I have in my daily life. When I take time, close my eyes, take some deep breaths in, focus on the present, or pray to God and just be at one with what's going on, I feel a lot better. He speaks about it with Angie Martinez saying this.
Meditation has like become a thing, like a regular part of your life. Like you do it all the time.
No.
Oh.
They think that like I'm a big,
Right. Like you meditated before this interview.
Yeah, I actually did.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, but even that is misleading. I do it when I get a little anxiety. You know what I mean? Or a lot of anxiety. When there's like a stressful situation. That's what I don't like about myself is like, I want to become disciplined to where it is a part of my life every day. When things are like good or things are like a little stressful. So like, I haven't done an interview in mad long. So like, before I come up here, I'm feeling like, I'm excited, but it's also like, oh, it's a little nerves. Like, it would feel like before I go on a big show or something. The meditation for me is more like being present. I'm not trying to think anything. I'm not praying about anything. I'm just still observing. So if my mind is racing, and it might be nerves, or it might be there's a bill due, or it might be this is happening in the family. I'm noticing it, and I'm trying to
let it go.
Let it go, but also not fight it. Bring my attention back to like my breathing, something that's currently happening. The sound of that fan. I just listen and try to like focus on that. And what you'll notice is like my mind will start going to something else. Like, oh, my mom said something on the phone, boom, boom, boom. And I'll start thinking about that. And I might go on a 30-second trip on that thought. And then I catch it like, oh, look what just happened. It's fine. Let me bring my attention back to that fan. Something that's like present moment. And like, I want to become a person that does that every day.
Cole was also asked about if his album with Kendrick would ever be coming out, and here was his answer.
So does this mean there'll never be a Kendrick and Cole album that everybody seems to think is happening?
Not for that reason. It's not that I wouldn't want to work with him. That's not the case. It's just that when I'm working on my album, it's just like, yo, that's just how I operate. Like, you didn't ask Prince why he don't have no, and not comparing myself to Prince, but I'm saying
why him and Michael Jackson never did an album.
Why you ain't have Mike on the album, bro? I really think your album would be a little better if you had Mike.
Yeah, but why does everybody think that this is, and why are people confirming?
When we originally got up to work, like this was years ago, like we just did a few songs, like a bunch of ideas, put it like that.
Right.
It was nothing like, you wouldn't call it an album, you wouldn't call it nothing like that.
So that's not a real thing. That's like some fantasy thing.
It didn't come from nowhere. It came from us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's not like it's something that's actively happening.
So at this point, fans weren't super hopeful. And it was interesting because no one really knew what their real relationship was like. Speaking of Kendrick, he was touring his album Damn, which took over in 2017, selling more than $41 million worth of tickets in North America alone. In 2018, he continued it in Europe and overseas, including South Korea, Sydney, New Zealand, and Australia. And these weren't small shows. Kendrick's shows overseas were already ranging anywhere from 12 to 30,000 people at the time. But back to Kendrick in a few minutes. A lot of Cole's only interview that year with Angie ended up being about Kanye, because at this time, Ye was going through his whole free thinking movement where he was wearing the Make America Great Again hat and supporting Trump, and he said slavery is a choice on TMZ, and he was clearly dealing with a lot of mental health issues in front of the world. And he had posted a screenshot of a phone call with J. Cole on Twitter, and Cole cleared up that he was concerned for Kanye at the time, and Kanye told him to call. This was after False Prophets had dropped, so clearly Kanye knew that Cole had some sort of issue with what he had become. And like we've seen Kanye do with people like Charlemagne, he likes to convince people that don't like him that they should like him. Check the 2017 video for more context, but he even compared Kanye to Trump here.
I don't even know if we were using that word 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I don't know if somebody was like, man, I really love free thinking. Don't impeach on my free thinking. I don't know if anybody was saying that, but it's a nice catchphrase.
It's a good catchphrase.
That's very easy to catch on to.
Yeah.
Like, make America great again. Who don't want to make America great again? Like, if you really look at the phrase, but when you bust that phrase down and see what's underneath it, it's like, well, what do you mean, make America great again? When was America great? What era are you talking about?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What is, like, be careful of catchphrases.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, shit be sounding good, but it's like, what's at the heart of it? The intent, like you said. What's the intention here? Is it for the people or is it for this one person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not just him. Donald Trump is to me, Trump is like a similar figure, where it's like, this is a dude who the only end goal is, I gotta be the man, period. Mm-hmm. Everything I do just has to ensure that I'm the man.
Later in the year, Kanye dropped some trash music, I Love It, with Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, which now thinking about it, is kind of ironic and might actually have been a low-key shot towards J. Cole, because to feature Lil Pump on a song that was clearly tailored to be a hit song and then to perform it on SNL, I think he was really trying to showcase that, no, the guy that you said his career was going to fall off and he'd be done in a year from now, I'm going to make him more relevant and give him a hit song and give him some staying power and make J. Cole look like he was wrong. But I could be reading too much into that. Let me know what you think. But regardless of the backlash to Kanye's public statements, and maybe even alongside those, because you know Kanye loves to have controversy with his rollouts to sell music or fashion or something, Kanye was working on his most ambitious projects yet, which was to drop multiple albums each 1 week apart and making them no more than 7 songs each. This included Tiana Taylor, Nas, a joint project with Kid Cudi that I actually love, his own album, and first up was Pusha T. Pusha's album Daytona was released on May 25th, 2017, and it included a song produced by Kanye that threw shots at Drake. And ironically, it used Cole and Kendrick's name in the bars. The game's effed up, dude's beats is banging, your hooks did it, the lyric penning equal to Trump's winning. The bigger question is how the Russians did it. It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin. And of course, Quentin Miller was synonymous with Drake's ghostwriting at the time. Pusha then even references his boss Kanye working with Drake on a song called Glow off of More Life. At the mercy of a game where the codes is missing, when the CEO's blinded by the glow, it's different. It's also funny, I wonder if Kanye even caught that bar or that reference because he's producing the album, and Pusha's kind of throwing not a shot at Kanye, but kind of like a slight jab, saying he's blinded by Drake's fame and success, and he doesn't really see who Drake really is at that time. Believe in myself and the Coles and Kendricks. Let the sock puppets play in their roles and gimmicks. I don't think it was an accident that he referenced Kendrick and Cole here. I think he's basically saying, out of the 3, these 3 are the most successful of their generation, and I'm claiming only 2 of them are real, and you're just a puppet. Shit, remember Will Smith won the first Grammy, and they ain't even recognize Hove until Annie. He's insinuating that just because Drake has more success than his contemporaries, it doesn't matter if he's not writing his own bars, similar to Will Smith, and basically saying it takes the real longer to get recognized. He might have just been generally saying, look, Drake's up here, but his success is not equal to the other success that has more authentic writing within it. Ferrari my 40th blew the candles out. Tom Brady, you dudes, I had to scramble out. They be riding these waves, I pulled my sandals out. One of the big narratives against Drake at that time was that he just rides the waves of other sounds that are poppin' or hot in order to uplift himself as an artist. I will argue, though, that that probably could be said about Kanye as well. So it's interesting that Pusha, is using that narrative while doing it in association with Ye. Oh, now it's okay to kill baby? Dudes looked at me crazy like I really killed a baby. Salute Ross, because the message was pure. He see what I see when you see Wayne on tour. Flash without the fire, another multi-platinum rapper trapped and can't retire. Dudes get exposed, I see the cracks, and I'm the liar. I took the crack and built the wire. I'll ensure that you get in every gram from us. Gram. Let's cram numbers. How could you ever right these wrongs when you don't even write your songs? But let us all play along. We all know what dudes for real been waiting on. Push knows that people have been talking about the Drake Pusha T battle for years at this point, and it has been going on since damn near the beginning of this series, maybe episode 3 or something like that. And this was a response to Drake's shots all the way back at the end of 2016, where he shot on 2 birds, 1 stone at both Kid Cudi and Pusha T. But this was an ongoing back and forth subliminal war that also had to do with Lil Wayne and Pusha T and Birdman and Pharrell. It has a whole lineage that they're now kind of at the forefront and battling each other as the 2 mainstream figures in this back and forth. What happened to that boy? The most impactful song in hip hop. I say Control is the most impactful verse, but What Happened to That Boy might be the most impactful song if you look at what it created years later. If Birdman had just paid Pharrell, we might not even know what hip hop looks like today. But it's crazy because I remember thinking at the time, Pusha took a very long time to reply to that. He might have had a couple subs here and there, but I was waiting for a direct reply to 2 birds, 1 stone because Drake was very direct with it. Cudi had his posts, like he talked about it on Twitter, but Pusha never really fully addressed it. And I almost thought, like, damn, is he really not gonna address Drake? Like, this was a pretty public shot, and for him to ignore it as the rapper that he is, I was honestly shocked. And it felt like Drake was kind of riding high and untouchable at that time. To hear him take these shots years later, I was like, oh, he must have been waiting for a reason. It made me feel like he was prepared for war. This wasn't coincidental. This was the most direct shot yet from Pusha, naming Baby and Lil Wayne and heavily implying Drake. But to a lot of people's surprise, Drake was war ready as well. Drake wasted absolutely no time and dropped a reply that same day called Duppy Freestyle. He likely had a heads up that the diss was coming because some of those bars were directly replying to what Pusha said on Infrared, even using some of the same flows to kind of mimic Pusha. And Drake was upset that Kanye had produced the song after just being over there working on his album. So much of the bars were actually directed towards Kanye rather than Push. On Duppy, Drake addresses the ghostwriting and asked Pusha T how he could respect his boss Kanye when he himself, Drake, has written for Kanye. So if you rebuke me for working with someone else on a couple of V's, what do you really think of the guy that's making your beats? I've done things for him I thought he never would need. Father had to stretch his hands out and get it from me. Father stretched my hands reference. I pop style for 30 hours, then let him repeat. Pop Style, a song that Kanye was on with Drake, and 30 Hours, a song that Drake wrote for Kanye. Now you popping up with the jokes, I'm dead, I'm asleep. I just left from over by y'all putting pen to the sheets. I was just writing with you guys. Tired of sitting quiet and helping my enemies eat. Keep getting temperature checks. They know that my head overheats. Drake kind of insinuates that maybe there's other things he wrote for Kanye. Maybe he wrote the Pop Style verse, or maybe he wrote On Father Stretch My Hands. But clearly Drake has done work for Kanye, and he's basically calling Pusha T out. Like, it's hypocritical for you to work with this artist and call me out for the same thing. Must have had your infrared wrong. Now your head in the beam. Y'all are the spitting image of whatever jealousy breeds. Don't push me when I'm in album mode. You're not even top 5 as far as your label talent goes. You send shots, well, I gotta challenge those, but I bring Calicos to the Alamo. Drake was really rapping here. I actually think this might be Drake's best diss track in terms of the flows and the bars and the delivery and how quickly he returned fire. But we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a couple minutes. Although I definitely think Pusha would have been top 5 talent on Good Music. It was a clever bar. I love Sean and Cudi. Who do you guys have as the top 5 talent on Good Music at this time? But then he shoots more at Kanye for getting jealous of Virgil Abloh's success. I could never have a Virgil in my circle and hold him back because he makes me nervous. You want to see my brothers flourish to their higher purpose. You dudes leeches and serpents. I think it's good that now the teachers are learning. Yeah. Drake directly goes after Pusha's credibility as a drug dealer, calling into question his persona and referencing his brother No Malice. Your brother said it was your cousin, then him, then you. This is referencing an old interview where Malice kind of talks about Pusha not necessarily being the one directly involved with some of the operation, but kind of watching from the sidelines. So you don't rap what you did, you just rap what you knew. Don't be ashamed. It's plenty dudes that do what you do. There's no malice in your heart. You're an approachable dude. Also, I think one of the funniest things to call someone who is so menacing like Pusha T is an approachable dude. Like, oh, you're an approachable guy. I could come say what's up to you and have a convo, and non-threatening. Man, you might have sold to college kids for Nike and Mercedes, but you act like you sold drugs for Escobar in the 80s. I had a microphone of yours, but then the signature faded. I think that pretty much resembles what's been happening lately. Drake did actually have a signed microphone from the clips and was a massive fan, so this bar was real life. It was dope.
One day I was looking for like autograph stuff from Clips because I was like a really, really big Clips fan. Some search words led me to this guy in Virginia that supposedly had a microphone that Pusha T used during the show. It was like plastic, but it had his autograph on it.
I just thought he was crazy for spending $200 for a Pusha T microphone, was supposedly signed by Pusha T.
That's a waste of money. Sorry, Pusha. I could have sold that and said Pusha T signed it.
I used to pretend I was doing interviews on the red carpet and perform all the Clip songs in my basement with the mic. I'm a full-size teen at this point, like, you know, so this is in private. And then I performed with it so much that I rubbed the autograph off. I don't even know if he really signed it, but that was my big thing, man. At the time, it meant the world to me.
Please believe your demise will be televised, yeah. And as for Q, man, I changed his life a couple times. Quentin Miller. Dude was at Kroger working double time. He was at a grocery store when he met him. Y'all acting like he made the boy when I was trying to help the guy, which I don't think is necessarily a fair depiction of what happened. It's not like Drake had his hand out, like, I'm going to help this up-and-coming artist. It was a mutually beneficial relationship that helped make music with both of them. My hooks did it, my lyrics did it, my spirit did it, I'm fearless with it. Yeah, that's the part where he used the same flow as Pusha did in Infrared. I really shouldn't have given you none of my time because you older than the dudes you running behind. Pusha T is older than Kanye, so again, another shot at Ye. Holla at me when you multi-million. Then Drake drops a bar that many consider to be the biggest mistake of this rap battle, although it's hard to know if Pusha T wouldn't have taken it as far as he did without this bar, but he did claim that this was one of the reasons, if not the reason, that he went where he went with his response. And we all know that when you mention a wife or a family or a child, if you mention family, there's no going back from it. And he mentions Pusha T's full wife's name in this bar, and she wasn't a public figure at this time. I didn't even know who it was. I had to really look up, and I was like, oh, he's engaged. This is his fiance's name at the time. I told you keep playing with my name and I'm gonna let it ring on you like Virginia Williams, because they just got engaged. He had a ring on. I'm too resilient. Get out your feelings. It's gonna be a cruel summer for you. I told Wheezy and Baby I'm a done him for you. Tell Ye we got an invoice coming to you, considering that we just sold another 20 for you. So again, now this is a battle where it's like Push is fighting on behalf of Pharrell. Drake is now fighting on behalf of Wayne and Birdman, and they're the main fighters in the forefront of the main event. Drake then posted an actual invoice on Instagram to Good Music, insinuating that because he replied to Push's diss track, that people would then go back and listen to the song and it will help them get some album sales, which I don't necessarily think is untrue. But the next day, in what kind of felt like a victory lap to Duppy Freestyle, or at least an extra flex, no pun intended, we'll get back to flex in a second, Drake dropped a single called I'm Upset, which was set to appear on his upcoming album Scorpion. On the song, he references potentially having a kid, but not feeling ready for one, someone putting money on his head, and one section that stood out that a lot of conspiracy theories afterwards tied into the whole XXX thing, where he said, end up getting loose and getting pictures from my ex, SMS XXX, that's the only time I ever shoot below the neck. Why you keep on shooting if you know that dude is dead? That's the only kind of shit that gets you some respect. Again, this could have so many meanings, so I actually don't attribute this to the X thing, especially since this song came out before X passed. But the why you keep on shooting if you know someone's dead, again, like maybe it's referencing Meek Mill and him continuously throwing shots at him on record after he beat him in the battle. But again, conspiracy theorists did their thing with that. Back to the song though, this is one of my least favorite Drake songs. There aren't that many Drake songs that I really don't like, but I'm Upset was one of them for me, especially since he was on such a hit streak. He had Nice for What, God's Plan, which are two of the biggest songs of his career, so I just didn't feel like it measured up to that level. But the video was dope. They went back and did the whole Degrassi reunion, so it kind of made up for the song. But yeah, you let me know what you think of that song. After this though, Funkmaster Flex, who always seems to end up in the middle of a Drake battle, teased that he had a Pusha T response track, but it appeared that it was a pump fake at first. And because of the urgency of Drake's reply, people were anxiously awaiting Push's reply. And honestly, at the time, I do remember feeling like every day that went by where Pusha T did not reply, it felt like Drake was winning a little bit. It felt like it hurt Pusha, especially because he took so long to reply to Two Birds, One Stone, and for Drake to reply one day after. People were anxious, but after waiting 4 days and people asking where y'all at, Pusha T returned over a Jay-Z Story of OJ instrumental from 444 for Story of Adidon, and calmly shot at Drake in a way that he hadn't heard before from his previous opponents. The way the intro starts off is maybe the calmest walk down in rap battle history. It's almost creepy a little bit how unbothered he sounds, and of course, later on, you get Meet the Grams, and that's a whole other level of creepy. But at the time, I remember hearing this song, I'm like, why is he so calm? And what is he talking about? What is he about to reveal here? But the smartest move in this battle, in my opinion, was the first bar where he says, drug dealing aside, ghostwriting aside, basically conceding that he may not be able to prove how real he is, and that yes, the ghostwriting stuff is kind of played out at this point. It's been talked about and rapped about to death. So he concedes a tie on those angles. And from there, his angle was something that I don't think anyone else expected. Easy money, it's about to be a surgical summer. Chop the tops off the coupes. He's talking about, I don't even know what he said. Some car it's too rich for me. And then he says, watch the body drop. Drug dealing aside, ghostwriting aside, let's have a heart-to-heart about your pride. Even though you're multi, I see that your soul don't look alive. The M's count different when baby divides the pie. Wait. So he's replying to Drake saying, you know, come holler at me when you're multi-million. He's saying you're multi-million, but your soul has something missing, and he's kind of shooting at Drake as a person here. Hearing this without actually seeing reactions to the song, I just remember hearing it like right when it was premiered. It was one of the craziest listening experiences of all time. Let me know where you guys were at if you listened to this live or when you first heard this song. But I literally remember still thinking, oh, he's just talking about Birdman is stealing his money when baby divides the pie. Now let's examine why. Your music for the past few years been angry and full of lies. I'll start at the home front, I'm on one. Dennis Graham, stay off the gram, bitch, I'm on one. You mention wedding ring like it's a bad thing. Your father walked away at 5, hell of a dad thing. Marriage is something that Sandy never had, Drake. How you a winner, but she keep coming in last place. Monkey suit Dennis, you parade him. A Steve Harvey suit dude made him. He's already gone after his mom and his dad, and we are like 10 bars in. Confused, always felt you weren't black enough. Afraid to grow it cause your fro wouldn't nap enough. Since you name dropped my fiance, let him know who you chose as your Beyonce. Sophie knows better as your baby mother. Cleaned her up for IG, but the stench is on her. A baby's involved, it's deeper than rap. We talking character, let me keep with the facts. At this point, I am listening like, what in the world is he talking about? Who is Sophie? And then you get the most classic bar of the battle. You are hiding a child. Let that boy come home. Deadbeat mother playing border patrol. Ooh! Adonis is your son, and he deserves more than an Adidas press run that's real. Love that baby, respect that girl, forget she's a porn star, let her be your world. Yuck. That yuck was necessary, because I'm like, what? This is disgusting. This what is happening? How dare you put yay in my verses? I'm selfish. I want all of the curses. I'm pre-booking the churches, me versus 3 hearses. If we all go to hell, it'll be worth it. So he's basically saying, forget Kanye, shoot directly at me. But if we're shooting at the team, then it'll be 3 of you dying, you, Wayne, and Birdman. Already aligned with the greats, and on that same note, the only one I chase are 2 ghosts. Pac and Big. Still giving you classics, that's the only thing that dates me. OVO 40 hunched over like he 80. Tick, tick, tick. How much time he got. That man is sick, sick, sick. I can't even read that bar. Surgical summer with it. Snip, snip, snip. And you don't really want it with them. Reading that was even hard to do. I can't imagine listening to that if I were Drake. The line about 40 actually caused a lot of controversy. But the scariest part is that this was only volume 1. This is only volume 1. He said Surgical Summer, volume 1, and we're going to peel it back layer by layer. We're going to take this slow. And I think Surgical Summer was actually a reference to Drake's alleged surgeries, which Joe Budden probably brought to the forefront when he dissed him and he mentioned that Drake had the ab surgery or his stomach sculpted during their back and forth. But it wasn't mainstream knowledge, and it would have still been a big reveal to a lot of his fans at the time. And then he closes by saying Daytona was the album of the year, and you talking about you upset, ha ha ha, well, I want to see what it's like when you get angry, okay? You show me that, push. The story of Adidon title refers to what was allegedly a deal that he had with Adidas for a shoe line, which was also going to double as a way to announce that he is a father to the world, allegedly. The shoe line was set to be named after his son, Adonis, and not sure if he was going to have Adonis in the ad or what, but after this, Drake never dropped that line and he never dropped that campaign, and he is stuck with Nike ever since then. Pusha T revealed this information the day after story of Adidon in an interview with The Breakfast Club, and Pusha framed this as Drake using his son to launch a brand deal, which kind of helped Pusha poke at Drake's nice guy or good guy image. Fans were absolutely shocked by the news. If you weren't around for this, then you don't remember that people were in shock online. The news that Drake was a father was just something they, for some reason, could not fathom, and they waited to see what Drake would do in reply. In hindsight, it is kind of crazy that people were that disappointed about Drake having a child out of wedlock, considering there's people like NBA Youngboy now who have like 13 kids, or even at the time, someone like Future who had a bunch of different children with a bunch of different women. But I guess it does kind of show you what Drake's good guy image was to the public, you know, the way he portrayed himself in interviews, even the jokes about the sweaters and his fashion from years prior. People kind of viewed Drake as this guy who was quote unquote soft and emotional and in touch with his feminine side and good to women, and maybe dated around and dated a lot of women, but would never be with a porn star and get her pregnant. This was actually shocking news at the time. And after the song dropped, I look back at God's Plan and Nice for What as maybe preparing the public for this news, because either way, Drake was going to reveal his child. And if it was through this Adidas campaign, then maybe he was trying to soften the blow and basically make himself look like still the good guy in this. And he was trying to get, you know, people on his side with the God's Plan video of giving back and the Nice for What, you know, an anthem for the women, doubling down on the good guy image he had maintained up until this point. But that's just my opinion. The real question for a lot of people now was, how did Pusha T get this information? How does Pusha T know about the kid before the world does? Well, at first, we heard Drake's side of the story, and Drake revealed that he was in Wyoming helping Kanye work on his 7-track project and even helped him write on multiple songs.
And then he was like, yo, you gotta come to Wyoming. So Wyoming happened, and 40 went to Wyoming early. And he was like, man, I'm here a day early, man. Something's off. He's like,
felt it? 40 said that.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's working on an album, man. And I was like, for real?
Because he hadn't announced it yet.
He just told me he wanted to work on, like, he just told me he wanted to give me beats, and he said he wasn't dropping till like October, November, or something like that. And I'm like, it's all good. Let's just go and let's see what it's about. So I went and, you know, ended up pretty much spending majority of my time working on his music, like just trying to like cook up ideas for him, you know?
Writing raps for him, in other words, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. Just trying to lend a helping hand, you know, cook up. Listen, I don't knock anybody. Music is a creative experience that should be shared. But anyway, I was out there and I spent all my time pretty much working on his stuff.
But he also revealed that he told Kanye he had a song on his album called March 14th, which was about finding out he was going to be a dad, which he apparently played for Kanye and showed him pictures of his child.
By the way, I'm in Wyoming. I play him March 14th. I send him a picture of my son.
Oh my God.
I tell him I'm having trouble with my son's mother. We had a conversation. I shared my...
And that song was largely deflated because of this beef. Side note, the whole Lift Yourself thing was kind of wild. I don't want to get too much into Kanye in this video because that's like 3 whole other videos, but he is inherently tied into this story. And in April, Kanye dropped a song called Lift Yourself that a lot of fans expected would maybe have a verse that explained where he was at mentally or said something of substance, especially after he hurt a lot of his fan base, including myself, by putting on that hat and talking about slavery was a choice and saying some wild things with no apology yet. But when Kanye got on this beat, all he said was this.
Whoopie scoop, scoop dee whoop, whoop dee scoop dee poop, poop dee scoop dee whoop, whoopie dee scoop whoop poop.
This whole speech of like, you know, I'm in a great place, I'm making money, and I'm a father, and I want to, you know, be Quincy Jones and help you. But in order to do that, you've got to be transparent with me, and you've got to play me your music, and you've got to tell me when you're dropping, and I know you don't like to do things like that. And so, you know, I was in the studio. I guess, you know, we all kind of felt a genuine vibe from it. So I played him my music, and I told him when I was dropping.
How much of Scorpion did you have done by then?
Maybe like 60% or something.
Got it.
And then from there, it was all good, you know? He played me like this.
He played you a beat, right?
He played me Lift Yourself, and he was like, yo, you can have this if you want. And I was hype. I started writing to it. And again, I left Wyoming, and I was like, okay, well, we left with Lift Yourself and like a pat on the back, you know? So it was like, all right.
It's all good.
Well, I guess, yeah, sure. I'll try and make the most of this, and hopefully he sends some other things through.
So this was kind of Ye publicly trolling not only every one of his fans, but Drake on the beat that was supposed to be for his album that he gave him. But all that to say, Drake and the rest of the world thought that Kanye told Pusha T, who was his artist, about the kid. Kanye also worked for Adidas at the time with Yeezy, so it seemed likely that he probably fed that information about the campaign, and that's how that got leaked to him too, which is why a lot of the disses on Scorpion and the animosity directed towards Kanye and not just Pusha T. Drake really felt betrayed by someone who he might have viewed as a friend at the time. But when Pusha T went on Joe Budden's podcast, he revealed that he actually knew about the kid from a surprising source.
And I just don't like how the narrative is changed. The narrative is totally changed, number one. And not for nothing, it's not true. I'm gonna be fair in saying, you know what? It may make sense in Drake's mind that, oh, Ye told Push about my son and my situation. I was in Wyoming, blase, blase, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. It's wrong. Didn't happen like that. Never happened. Not what it is, not what happened, not where the information came from. The information came from 40. It didn't come from Kanye at all. Okay. 40 is sleeping with a woman who, you know, he talks to her daily, 5-6 hours a day.
Oh, she must have a great personality.
Yeah, bruh. Come on. Listen, talks to a woman 5-6 hours a day, provides opportunity for her.
Provides opportunity
for her.
He's a great guy.
And, you know, ultimately speaks about how he's disgruntled about certain things, notoriety and things involving Drake and his career, so on and so forth.
To this young lady?
Yes. With that also came the fact that Drake has a child. With that also came the trip that everybody took to go see the child and bring them gifts and all of this information. She divulged this information.
She has a great personality.
That's where it came from.
But however the information was attained, it was effective. And Drake was feeling the public opinion turn on him a little bit and the pressure to now drop a great album. But speaking of 40, one of the most controversial things about this battle were Push's bars about 40, where he basically said he only had a short time to live. 40 suffers from multiple sclerosis, which is an incurable autoimmune disease affecting his central nervous system. Some people think this was actually taking it too far by mocking 40's health, and others said that there are no lines when it comes to rap battles. Again, things age in a crazy way, because listen to Maul, known defender of Drake at all costs today, and someone who has time and time again talked about the damage that Kendrick did by accusing Drake of certain things in the battle, and that taking it too far. Listen to him talk about Drake in this Pusha T battle.
Rules in beef. There are none.
There's no rules in
right,
bro. I ain't no rules to this, bro.
How I grew up, there wasn't.
Yeah, there is a rule. Write your raps.
Rap changes all the time.
You got to do that too. Like that's a rule. I just thought it was crazy. I don't see how you could chime in so much and never mention two birds, one stone. The Cuddy's mental health issues, mentioning my wife. I mean, I don't see how you could breeze or say anything, not say anything about any of those things. Right?
Okay.
And then only speak about me wishing death when everybody heard the song. I ain't wish death on nobody. Not that I care.
I felt that way about that too. I didn't think you meant you wish death.
But not that I care.
Okay.
Let's be clear.
This guy's heartless.
Yeah, very. Bruh, my face is upside down.
Maybe the most controversial part of this whole battle, though, was the cover art for the song. The cover image included a picture of Drake in what appeared to be blackface. It turns out that it was actually a real photo of Drake from 2007, taken during an acting project called The Concept, about black actors being typecast in Hollywood. But at the time, and with no context, fans had a lot of questions. This is actually the only thing that Drake replied to directly from the battle right after Story of Adidon, before his album dropped. Drake released an Instagram story note that read this: "I know everyone is enjoying the circus, but I want to clarify this image in question. This was not from a clothing brand shoot or my music career. This picture is from 2007, a time in my life where I was an actor and I was working on a project that was about young black actors struggling to get roles, being stereotyped and typecast. The photos represented how African Americans were once wrongfully portrayed in entertainment. Me and my best friend at the time, Mazen, were attempting to use our voices to bring awareness to the issues dealt with all the time as black actors at auditions. This was to highlight and raise our frustrations with not always getting a fair chance in the industry, and to make a point that the struggles for black actors had not changed much." You'll remember Mazen from the song Wu-Tang Forever off of Nothing Was the Same, where Drake says, "People like Mazen, who was a best friend to me, start to become a distant memory." The photographer of the picture, David Lees, who had it on his website, confirmed the concept was Drake's idea, not from a brand or film company, and Drake was wearing clothes from a line called Jim Crow Couture from Canadian fashion label Two Black Guys. The picture was reportedly used for their 2008 ad campaign. Pusha T replied to Drake's Instagram story in an interview with Big Boy by saying this:
"You are silent in all black issues, Drake. You really are. You are really, really silent. I don't hear about anything. You don't stand for nothing. You don't say nothing about nothing. You don't. It's just what it is. You have all the platform in the world."
Even this was Van Lathan's response to this cover art at the time. "Wait, so the picture of Drake in blackface isn't photoshopped? Can't be true," all caps. But after this and Pusha's media run, it felt like Drake had to reply in some way. It felt like a weight bigger than any shot thrown his way throughout his career. Does that need a pause? Maybe. Okay, in case, pause, play. But we couldn't just get a classic reflective album with some hits. We needed answers as fans. I really do remember thinking, like, I want to hear what Drake has to say about all this. How is he feeling? What is his response to some of these things? Like, why did he hide his kid, quote unquote, from the world? Like, there were things you wanted to know as a fan of Drake in this moment. Instead of a direct reply, though, we got a few things. First, we had J. Prince do a media run explaining why Drake dropped out of the battle. Now, J. Prince is one of the most well-known and powerful people in Houston, and his son, Jazz Prince, is responsible for finding Drake. If you hear Drake talk about mob ties, it's usually in reference to J. Prince. He also has a feature with 2 Chainz where he says, I'm a J. Prince investment, allegedly to all of the mob ties things. But I once interviewed J. Prince over Zoom, and I was legitimately scared when I asked him a couple like riskier questions about some things in his career that I was even a little nervous, like, should I ask that? And it was over Zoom. And I've heard some stories. But he's just got a presence about him. Shout out to J. Prince. I want no problems ever. But either way, Prince went on a few shows and talked about how Drake had an alleged bomb of a diss track where he could legitimately ruin someone's career and some people's lives. He said families would be torn apart from it with what he was going to reveal.
Over the weekend, you were trending because you said you talked with Drake and you told him to no longer respond to Pusha T. Right, because after Pusha put out the last joint that was
The
called,
story of Adidon.
Adidon, you felt like it crossed the line?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it crossed the line where music was concerned. You know what I mean? The disrespect for his mother, the disrespect for his father, for 40. You know what I mean? A man is dying. You know, I know these people, so I felt that was totally disrespectful, and I couldn't, you know, after even speaking with Kanye, you know what I mean, because I spoke with the brother, and he didn't want this, you know what I mean, and I saw this going in a place that I feel would have ended his career if Drake would have put out the song that he had on him, and definitely would have hurt families, and you know what I mean, and we not in it for that, you know what I mean. That's not Drake character. I ain't, you know, we not in business to tear our brother, fellow man down, you know, to that extent.
And to me, and this is just a theory, I don't think it could have really been about Pusha T. I think this would have been about Kanye. And I think it was probably going to reveal something about Kanye's sexuality. I don't know if he knew info or had videos or had tapes, or if there was something. Maybe he knew about the cousin thing. I don't even know if the cousin thing is real, but maybe, who knows? I just think it had something to do with Kanye and felt like it could have ruined Kanye's public relationship or Kanye's family. But it didn't feel like the info was about Pusha T. Otherwise, I think by this point, he would have dropped at least hints towards it or something about it.
I tweeted out, $100,000 ain't enough to...
Information.
For information.
You're looking for
that
something.
shit was real. That shit was real. That was not fake.
Oh, no. I know.
Oh, okay. Listen, I don't know if you do.
I know.
People who were close and near and dear to me are aiding and helping him do this shit. It's so whack to me, man. It's this woman, man. This woman, she's worked on every album of mine. Every album.
Always back to the women.
Yeah. No. Listen, she's worked on every project I've ever had. Every project I've ever had. She worked on my Adidas campaigns, everything. Just to give you the story of how this shit went. I'm on my way to fucking Wyoming. We're on our way to Wyoming listening to Ye album. We in the car, get a call from a old friend from LA. Yo, somebody just hit me up talking about $100,000, you know, for information on you, so on and so forth. And the wild part about it is, it's this woman, this girl up there, her name is Cap. You know Cap, don't you? Like, don't y'all rock with each other like that? And I'm like, nah, whatever. Hung up the phone, knew damn well it was the truth, because shouldn't nobody know this man. Ever. Like, in conjunction with me in 2018. 2001 and 2, yes.
Got it.
Not now. Boom. Get over there, get to Wyoming. Just have the listening, whatever the case may be. Get back to my room, check my DMs. My homeboy from Virginia. Yo, you need to call me in the morning. He's not even my homeboy. We had matter of fact, give me the real story. Me and him had an issue. Rap crew, Virginia rap crew versus us, whatever the case may be. We had an issue. You know, speak to him the next morning. He's like, yo, they offering $100,000 for information on you, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna put you on the phone with my man, because he was actually on the phone with him. yo, it's this lady named Cap, such, so and so. I was like, whoa, like, bro, they go above and beyond.
Which is why 100%, I do believe him when he says he went and made a diss track that was full of some shit. And he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that.
Somebody may think that, there is some crazy, he did this crazy research, in which he did. And let me tell you, even about that research didn't come back with nothing. As a matter of fact, they taped the conversations and gave them to me.
Let me just
play them if you want.
When all this stuff was happening,
because I got them.
I said,
or their money or their popularity runs me. Like, no, bro. Like, this ain't about this. This shit is some rap shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's some rap shit. Like, this ain't popularity. This ain't money. This ain't nothing. Like, it's what it is.
But the narrative at the time was that Drake didn't want to stoop down to their level and drag himself into the mud. Whether or not this was true, no Drake diss track ended up being released. What we got instead was multiple hit songs. On July 10th, 2018, Drake released a song, In My Feelings, alongside a video a few weeks later, and the song became a #1 hit and topped the charts for 10 straight weeks, making it the most weeks at #1 for one single artist in history. The dance challenge, started by Shiggy, if you remember, became a viral trend. It was everywhere. It also served as a bit of a shot towards Kanye because his wife at the time, Kim Kardashian's nickname, was apparently Kiki. Kiki, do you love me? It was also the name of Keisha Shante, I think, Canadian singer. Shout out to Keisha Shante, a legend who Drake had dated in the past. And I think there's a couple other meanings that it could have been towards certain women. It was vague enough, but it was also something that I think Drake knew would get to Kanye. But whether it was about Kim or not, it clearly did its job of getting to Kanye. And eventually, Ye crashed.
Now, if I wasn't in a medicated state, I might have thought and had the wherewithal to say, hey, Pusha, don't diss Drake on my beat. And I spoke about that and took accountability for that. Now, what I'm looking for my spirit to take accountability is the fact that it's people making rumors or thinking that you my wife and you're not saying nothing and you carrying it like that don't sit well with my spirit. You know, if I had a girlfriend from Chicago, her name was Renita, and then you was married to Rihanna, I wouldn't make no song called Riri. So when you're like, oh, I don't know where it come from, you too smart for that, bro. You know where that come from. Don't make no record with nothing that could be confused. Now, I told you, I didn't tell Pusha no information about your baby mama, nothing like that. That ain't come from me. But when you played that record for me in the studio that said, yo, we got some Kylies, we got some Kendalls, I told you, Travis is your man. Don't make no record like.
And then a couple weeks after In My Feelings, Drake dropped Scorpion on June 29th, 2018. On the album, he referenced the beef with Kanye and Pusha all over disc 1. He started off the album by saying this: all of this disorder, no addressing, the crown is broken in pieces, but there's more in my possession. There's a whole lot in my possession. Passing of the crown is in pieces. He insinuates that he was really thinking about doing something drastic after Pusha's song. Yeah, I thought about it. It's unsettling to talk about it. Then he says, this just the intro, let me not get ahead of myself. This is God's plan. Young man, you said it yourself. Always got an ace up my sleeve for whatever was dealt. Daddy got suits like Bernie Mac. He dresses himself, directly replying to Pusha's comments about his dad's suits. I stopped asking myself and started feeling myself. Now I got to deal with all this drama and deal with myself, which is actually an honest moment of reflection. You know, when Kendrick says later on, it's a lifelong battle with yourself, it feels like Drake is kind of like acknowledging that he is dealing with certain things in his own personal life and himself in this moment, which are actually commendable. I didn't even have to cut the tie. It severed itself with Kanye, of course. This just the intro, let me not get ahead of myself. The album produced some of the biggest hits of Drake's career, with Non-Stop, which is certified diamond, along with God's Plan and Nice for What. My personal favorite song off the project is Elevate because it feels like a rare moment where Drake is really reflecting on his career and how far he's come, and almost in disbelief looking back at, wow, I really made it from there to here to the top of the rap game. How did I do this? Thank you, God, for where I'm at. On 8 out of 10, Drake insinuates that even Kanye's wife will be listening to his new project and hints at maybe having some sort of relationship with her at some point, although this was never confirmed. Drizzy about to drop, the game is in disarray. I tell you, hear me out, but we both know end of the day, your people are press and play, your nanny is press and play, your wifey.
True.
Max said they only bless when they attach to you. The only dead beats is whatever beats I've been rapping to. Never a matter of could I or should I. Kiss my son on the forehead, then kiss your ass goodbye. As luck would have it, I've settled into my role as the good guy. I guess luck is on your side. All 7s, no 6s. Rest easy, get some shut eye. So again, he's kind of referencing this good guy image I was talking about before, where he's basically saying like, I can't stoop down to your level. I can't release whatever this diss track is, because if I go there, then my entire image is ruined. Even though I do feel like it took maybe a small hit because of this, it didn't have the mainstream effect on everyone viewing Drake differently outside of the hip hop community. And I think that's what he's referring to on Never Matter of Could I, it's Should I, basically saying, should I drop this song, not can I write a song? And then he obviously applied to the allegations that he was a deadbeat dad, saying, no, the only dead beats are the beats that I kill when I'm rapping. He says, I try to pay it less mind. They've been keeping tabs on me like I'm paying next time. I think I sense a little fear from the other side. White vans parked across the street, real subtle guys. I don't know if Kanye had sent white vans to spy on Drake, but they were both in Calabasas at the time, so a lot of the back and forth has to do with them living in the same area. The whole mob ties feels like a shot at Pusha and Ye a little bit, and Can't Take a Joke is littered with references to the battle in Calabasas, and just like it's all throughout this project. It has to do with this battle. I have a feeling he wrote a lot of this or made a lot of these songs right after Story of Adidon dropped. Emotionless is probably the most direct that Drake was in addressing things, where he says, I can't even capture the feeling I had at first. Meeting all my heroes, like seeing how magic works. The people I look up to are going from bad to worse. Their actions out of character even when they rehearse. Working in the land of the free, the home of the brave. I gotta bring my brothers or else I feel out of place. Breaking speed records on roads that these dudes paved, and they don't like that. It's written all on their face. Again, talking about meeting his heroes, working with his heroes, Kanye specifically, but also probably Pusha T to some indirect way, where he looked up to Pusha, and he's saying now he's surpassing them all, he's breaking their records, he's on top of the game, and that there's a lot of jealousy going on, and they don't like where he's at and his placement in the game, so they're trying to sabotage him. That to me is kind of like the gist of what he's saying here. Iconic duos rip and split at the seams. Good-hearted people are taking it to extremes, leaving me in limbo to question what I believe, leaving me to ask what's their motive in making peace, leaving me to not trust anybody I meet, leaving me to ask, is there anybody like me? Him and Kanye had gone back and forth and kind of pieced up and then beefed again and then pieced up, and they continued to go back and forth, and their relationship continued to falter and fall apart. So Drake is confused. And then he had this classic bar, I wasn't hiding my kid from the world, I was hiding the world from my kid. From empty souls who just wake up and look to debate, until you staring at your seed you could never relate. This created some classic memes where people were flipping things. They're like, I wasn't doing this, I was doing this. Fun time on the internet, but I think it was effective. He says, breaking news in my life, I don't run to the blogs. The only ones I want to tell are the ones I can call. They always ask, why let the story run if it's false? You know, a wise man once said nothing at all. Basically saying, this is why I didn't reply to this whole battle. I'm exhausted and drained. I can't even pretend. All these people taking miles when you give them an inch. All these followers, but who gonna follow me to the end? I guess I'll make it to the end and I'm gonna find out then. And I'm sure he found out even more with his next battles, who was gonna really be there for him, who was gonna follow him till the end. But at this point, I think he was really questioning if his fan base was going to continue on with him. The answer was they were, because this album was extremely successful. Overall, the album was a huge commercial success and served all factions of Drake fans, from the rap lovers to the R&B fans with all of Diss 2. The album sold 732,000 copies first week and broke all types of streaming records. The second half of the album was an R&B filled project besides the final song, March 14th, which was about realizing he was having a kid and how he was dealing with it and how he was feeling. Jaded was a standout, which addresses his relationship with Georgia Smith at the time. But even after the album, Drake continued to throw shots at Ye on his artist song. Travis Scott's Sicko Mode dropped and quickly became one of the biggest songs of all time. But many of the bars were clear shots and also insinuating him kind of pulling up to Kim's house or Kanye's house and maybe having an affair or some type of relationship with Kim. Whether or not it was true, he was playing into it because he clearly knew it got under Kanye's skin. He also took a shot at Kanye on No Stylist with French Montana, who's always there when Drake needs to diss somebody. Yeah, 2 open seats, we flying at 7 and pack for the beach. Yeah, keeping it G. I told her don't wear no 350s around me. referencing Kanye's Yeezy shoes. And Drake's feature run this year was notable. Besides those, he was on Walk It Like I Talk It with Migos, Mia with Bad Bunny, Yes Indeed with Lil Baby, and of course Look Alive with Block Boy JB, which was a huge hit. Even though Drake may have lost his battle with Pusha T by dropping out, he still ended the year in terms of the massive hits he had and winning back public perception at a time when it felt like he could have lost it all. The crown may have been in pieces, but I do think he pieced it back together, put it on his head, and was still at the top of the game. But let me know what you think of 2018 as a year. What were your favorite parts? Where were you when all of this was going on? Give me some vivid storytelling of this year and your recollection of it in the comments below. My name is Jeremy Hecht. I'm so thankful for you guys tuning in. If you watch this long, I'm like sweating recording this. It's been like an hour and something of, filming this right now. So I'm really appreciative if you did take the time to watch this, if you watch this series. And all I ask in return is for you to just, keep watching, keep tuning in, hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode. The next episode will be here. If you're watching and it's out, it'll be there, or you can watch past episodes and catch up if you haven't watched from 2009. We're almost at 27,000 at the time of this recording. I think we're probably at 27,000 now, so thank you. And you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. Links will be below. If nobody else has told you yet today, I appreciate you. Dream good, live better, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.